Hello, friends. You are watching the Local Lens. I'm Beth Keener.
And I'm Greer Howard.
And today we are sitting down with Nic Sheff, who is the author of Tweak, Growing Up on Methamphetamines. And it's fascinating that you've written this book.
Yes, and you've taken not only your writings, but also from your father and his author, and created this movie. There's Beautiful Boy that's out in theaters right now. It stars Steve Carell and also Timothee Chalamet, who plays you, which is so
very
amazing.
weird.
Yeah. So your dad wrote Beautiful Boy, you wrote Tweak.
Mm-hmm.
And I read a little bit about the director, who was very interested in both stories and felt that they could be told simultaneously. What was that?
Well, for us, it was really a process of building trust, with the people that we were working with, and it was like a 10-year process where the books came out in 2008. And we met with a producer from Plan B, Jeremy Kleiner, and he was, we really connected. And actually, there's someone I wrote about in the book who overdosed, he was a heroin addict, and he crashed his motorcycle when he was high. And Jeremy knew this kid that I'd written about in my book, so we had this connection of having lost. He was like really close to him too. And so we had this connection of having lost this friend of ours, and so we just kind of trusted him that he was going to do the right thing by the movie and was going to, not rely on addiction cliches. And so then, it was just a question of finding the right filmmaker. And once we met Felix, and his name is Felix van Groeningen.
I was wondering how to say that. That's quite a name.
There's probably a more American-y way to say it, but I can't do it, so that's my best guess. He made this movie, Broken Circle Breakdown. It's a beautiful Belgian film. It was nominated for an Oscar. And it was just this process of building trust with him. We spent, months with him. I see him almost every day actually when he's in LA to go surfing, and he really has become sort of a part of our family.
Wow.
So we really trusted him to tell the story in the right way. And then with Timmy and Steve, it was sort of a similar process of my dad spent time with Steve and I spent time with Timmy, and we just really kind of fell in love with them and really felt like they were in this to do it in the right way.
Yeah.
So then with the actual filming process, that makes me think, how involved were you and your dad during the actual filming process?
We weren't super involved. I only went to set one time actually, and it was this very intense scene where Timothy is telling Steve and Maura Tierney, his stepmom, how much drugs he'd been using, and he's in a rehab. And they do like 20 takes of each scene or more, and every take, Timmy was crying, and it was so emotional, and I just felt like I couldn't watch it happening over and over and over again. So it was just, it was just too emotional. And I know my dad said the same thing. He went to the scene that was filming actually out in Point Reyes, where he lives, on this beach, and they were reenacting this thing from our lives that had actually happened. And my dad said exactly the same thing. He just, watching them do it over and over again, it was too much. So we both had to kind of just get out of there.
The magic of filmmaking, right?
Yeah,
the magic is there's no magic except for just people reliving it over and over and over. Right?
Yeah, the magic really, I guess, is the actors being able to put that, and Felix being able to put that into every take. Because really, I don't know, especially watching that, the scene I watched with Timmy, it was every take he was just so, he would just bring it, and it was amazing to watch.
That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, no, they're amazing, and Timmy, Steve is amazing too. I just feel like I focused on Timmy's performance just because, he's playing me, and I was able to really see, the complexity and the subtlety that he brings to this character. And he talks about the fact that, after we met the first time, he realized that he wasn't going to be trying to play a drug addict. He was going to be trying to play a person that got addicted to drugs. And I think you really see that. He never loses his humanity and sensitivity. even as he's doing these like, terrible things, the person that he was before is always like present, and it's really amazing. I don't know how he does it, honestly.
Yeah. So that makes me think, it said that you actually were starting to kind of dabble in drugs around 12 and then really got into it maybe around 18 or so. And so at what point did your dad or your family actually realize that you were using?
I grew up in the Bay Area where it's crazier now, but even at the time, there was just pot everywhere, and so I had a friend that offered it to me when I think I was in like 6th grade or something, and I did it and not really thinking too much about it, and pretty instantly, like, I had this feeling when I did it of like real relief. Like, it felt like kind of the answer to my problems a little bit. Like, I felt confident when I was doing it. I felt like I could talk to girls. I felt like I could go to parties. Like, it really felt like a solution to my anxiety and depression and stuff that I guess I had at that age. So I kept doing it all through high school, and yeah, it really wasn't till sort of later in high school that I was, smoking pot from the moment I got up to the moment I went to sleep at night. And it kind of stopped like working for me because my tolerance got really high, and it's a depressant too, so the more I smoked, the more depressed I would get, and then I would have to smoke more to try to feel better. And it just wasn't working anymore. So I started kind of looking for harder drugs to kind of give me that feeling that I've been looking for. And it wasn't until I found crystal meth that I found kind of the one, Back then, I had never heard of crystal meth. It was before Breaking Bad and everything, and someone offered me some speed, and I did it, and it was, in that moment, it was like definitely the feeling I've been looking for, and I spent the next 10 years or whatever, like chasing that feeling, and but once I started doing crystal meth, my life really spiraled out of control really quickly. So it wasn't too long after that my parents found out that I was doing it.
So you're speaking to, like, obviously pot was everywhere in the Bay Area. Honestly, we locally deal with a massive crystal meth problem. I know, like in the Cape area, it's a huge issue there too. It's an epidemic, I guess, is what I'm getting to. So this movie is so timely, and your story is so specific. What are you hoping will come from all of this? I mean, this is a massive way to tell a story.
Yeah. I mean, one thing, just really is that when our books came out, we realized like how amazing it was that when we sort of shared our story and were really open, it seemed like it allowed other people to kind of be really open and share their stories too. And we traveled all over the country, and we, met thousands of people that were affected by this thing. And it was so amazing to be able to like share with them and have them share with us. So we were hoping the movie could just do that on a bigger scale and inspire conversation and really, reinforce the idea that the fact that addiction is a disease. It's not a choice. It's not a moral failing. It's a brain disease. And also that, it totally, there is this, with the opiates too right now, like, 200 people a day are dying from overdoses. It's insane. And, it can feel like there's no hope out there, but really, I mean, it's, at least my experience and the experience of my friends and stuff who are in recovery, is that it's possible to live a really amazing life sober and to kind of, for me, my life got so much bigger and better once I got sober. And of course, there's an issue with access to treatment in this country, and the fact that, healthcare doesn't, insurance companies won't pay for treatment a lot of times, and treatment systems are really unregulated, so that's something we want to address too. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the movie, the feeling that I came away with, and I'm hoping audience come away with, is that love that exists in a family is always there and never goes away.
And that love is such a great part of this movie, the unconditional love that you received from your family. So for you, how did that make all the difference? Because you're going through this addiction, there's so much struggle, but then having that unconditional love, and what would be your encouragement maybe to someone else who has a loved one who is struggling with addiction? What is that encouragement there to, to stick in and to keep loving them even when times are difficult?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. I think the more that people can just remember and try to, I mean, the thing about addiction is it doesn't look like a disease. It doesn't look like a normal disease because you see someone doing these, when someone has cancer, they don't break into their family's house or steal money from their siblings or whatever. But addiction is a disease. It's a brain disease, and so we need to treat it like a disease, which is, basically just trying to get people help and treatment as much as we possibly can. And for me, it was a big turning point when my parents stopped like sort of blaming me and being angry with me, and instead just they kept telling me they weren't going to give me any money, or they weren't going to bail me out or anything, but if I was willing to get into treatment, they would help me get into treatment. And like I said, there's a real crisis with access to treatment in this country, but there are really amazing programs out there. There are programs that offer scholarships. There are programs that are county run that are actually really amazing. So it can be sometimes difficult to find them, but they are out there. And that's something we've been really working on, is trying to sort of put together like a database of what the best treatment centers are, and what places take insurance, and just trying to help navigate that, because it can be so maddening for families going through this.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to call out, there is construction behind this window. If you hear some buzzing, some work, it's back there. But also, talk to me about Nic now, because it sounds like you have so many initiatives that you're pushing for and that you guys have your hands in. What can we expect to see from you moving forward? Yeah,
well, I mean, I'm definitely not like an expert in any of this stuff, so I mean, it's just me like sharing my story and the sort of the experiences I've had with other people that I've talked to. But my dad and I actually do have we kind of wanted to. I mean, one of the big questions is how do you help with prevention, because that's like something that I think is really scary for parents, is figuring out how to talk to their kids about drugs, how to help navigate this world we live in where drugs are really everywhere. And so my dad and I actually worked with these doctors and specialists to put together a young adult, or like more like a children's book even, that's going to be coming out in January, called High, that is hopefully a great tool for parents and teachers to sort of talk to kids about drugs and help with prevention techniques.
Great. Well, Nic, thank you so much for being here with us today. Mm-hmm. And you can catch Beautiful Boy in theaters now.
Yes, you can. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Beth.
I'm Greer, your friends in entertainment.
That's who we are. We're your friends.